So let's talk contemporary brands and luxury brands. Hello, 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 and the warmest of welcomes to today's video. For those of you who haven't seen my face before, hi, I'm Nick, fab to have you here. Those who have seen my face before, thank you so much for joining me again. I hope you're enjoying my videos. I put out videos roughly 3 times a week on a range of different topics, anywhere from fashion to some slightly more personal topics. So if that sounds like something you'd be interested in, then please do head down, hit subscribe, and turn on the notification bell. I love chatting with you all. I'm all about living life loud, and what that means to me is being your authentic self, being proud to be you, and just celebrating who you are. Celebrating yourself and celebrating others. So, what are we going to talk about today? Today we are going to follow on from a conversation that has been happening across a couple of videos that I thought was super duper interesting. So in a recent Q&A video, one of the questions that was asked of Dale, please go and follow Dale at Dale's Addiction, she's wonderful, by Gwenny, from Style by Gwenny, was around her use of contemporary bags and does she buy contemporary bags. And then that sparked a conversation with Autumn from Autumn Beckman's channel. Again, please do go and subscribe to Autumn. She is also wonderful. And of course, Gwenny too. And they've done a collaboration where they were talking about their views on contemporary bags. And it was a really interesting conversation. I really enjoyed all of the videos. I really enjoyed all of the points of view. And as someone who buys from a range of different brands, I thought this actually felt quite up my street in terms of a conversation piece. So, I'm not going to say what their opinions were, because I think go and watch their videos, but in terms of where I stand on this, it's a really interesting one, because one of the things that I've always thought, and this is something I've mentioned multiple times, is that the luxury versus contemporary, I want to know what the line is. Who makes the decision as to what's deemed luxury versus what's deemed contemporary? Is contemporary due to the age of the brand? Is it due to the price point of the brand? Is it due to the materials that are used by the brand? Or is it to do with the brand name exclusively? And if so, who puts it on which list? So that's kind of where I start this off, because I am someone who owns items from luxury fashion houses, as they would be considered. You know, for example, I own from MCM, I own from Mulberry. However, I also own from brands that would be considered contemporary. For example, from Kurt Geiger. Now, I am in 2 minds about the topic of contemporary versus designer. Because for me, luxury is about how something makes you feel. Does it make you feel special? Is it luxurious to you? I really do feel that luxury is in the eye of the beholder, and I think something that cost £50 can feel as luxurious as something that cost £500 or even beyond, dependent on what the item is, of course. So that's why I asked the question about what is the list? What makes something luxurious? So, let's take an example, okay? In here, because I keep a bag in this. Right, here we go. We have a Ralph Lauren belt bag, okay? Just a simple leather belt bag. This is from what would be deemed a contemporary brand. It is from Ralph Lauren, which is a diffusion brand of Ralph Lauren. Do go and check out my discussion on diffusion brands. I think you'll find it interesting. So, this is a leather belt bag. This is made out of Saffiano leather. Prada are also well known for their use of Saffiano leather. They've had many products named after the Saffiano leather of which they use. Therefore, this, for however much this was, £80, was it? Something like that, versus what would probably be, I don't know, £700-800 from Prada. From what I can tell, I mean, there's no quality issues here. There's no issues with anything that I can see. It's all very lovely. What makes this less of a luxury, other than the brand it came from, versus one that I would buy from Prada? Same question when it comes to, again, I sound like I'm on one about Prada, I'm not, but I often hear a dialogue about Longchamp being contemporary. It's a brand that's nearly 100 years old. It is a French fashion house. It has a history to it, much like the other brands do. They have leather pieces, but they also have nylon. And I often hear that the nylon is kind of seen as the lesser part of it, and I understand that because it is a lower price point. However, you don't hear the same dialogue about Prada bringing something out in nylon, Chanel bringing something out in another material. So again, I ask the question, what is it that's making it luxurious? If it's not the material, is it exclusively the brand? Is it because it's the price point it is? What is it that's making it luxurious? And that's kind of where I sit on this, because I do own a range of different brands. I own, like I said, Mulberry, MCM, Kurt Geiger, Longchamp, Karl Lagerfeld. I mean, Karl Lagerfeld is the namesake brand of the former creative director of Chanel. So yes, it's not the same price point as Chanel, but it still carries a very iconic name. So if it's a name, surely that has a luxurious element to it. The quality is also really good of their pieces. So the service is really good. For me, it's about the package. You know, why do I buy from brands like Kurt Geiger? Because the quality's good, they use nice materials, and the staff are incredible, and I feel really valued as a brand, and they really seek to move the dial in terms of philanthropic efforts plus inclusive conversations. Similar to Karl Lagerfeld, they've worked with Cara Delevingne, and Cara Delevingne, it's on their website, it's part of their ad campaign, I believe, with her, but it references the fact that it shouldn't be, you know, men's clothes, women's clothes, it should just be good clothes. There should be a neutrality, which I completely agree with. You know that I don't think fashion has a gender. And that was a really big statement from a brand. And yes, it was coming through someone that they were working with and an ambassador, but they are still working with that brand. So I have a lot of respect for that. And that is important to me, and that to me feels luxurious, that I feel seen by a brand. I feel included by a brand. I feel supported by them. And in turn, they have great products. It suits my aesthetic. That's luxurious to me. That, again, it's all about feel. It's all about how something makes you feel. And that I personally never want to lose in the dialogue. And I agree, like I said earlier, I agree with every point of view that I've watched, and I love their opinions. And I think if I could buy exclusively from luxury fashion houses, would I? I don't know. I'm not in a position to do that at this moment, so, or the perceived luxury fashion houses, should I say. But, you know, much like Autumn said in her video, I buy a lot of pre-loved. I don't tend to go for dupes. I try to stay away from dupes if I can. I did have one dupe that actually I gave to my mum because I just didn't use it. I didn't realise it was a dupe of a sac de jour, but then when I had it and I was looking at it, I thought, oh, this looks a lot like a sac de jour. Maybe that was why I gravitated towards it, and it was just subconscious. But I try to stay clear of dupes because I know I would just feel like I wish I had the actual thing. And I like to explore different designs from different brands. And I also love the fact that with the lower priced brands, you can potentially go outside your comfort zone in a slightly different way. I did not know if I was going to enjoy flat bags as a style. Therefore, I bought a couple of these, because they were a lower price point than, say, for example, a Mulberry Lily, an Aspinall Lottie. You know, you were saving half, if not more than, by buying from Kurt Geiger opposed to buying from Mulberry. Half versus buying from Aspinall, for example. So it was a great way to explore a new style for me as well. Has it made me think I need to go and buy a Chanel maxi? No. I'm perfectly happy with this. I never feel less than when I'm stood next to someone who has a bag much more expensive than mine, a shoe that's much more expensive than mine. Not that anyone's ever trying to make you feel that way, but sometimes I think we can put those pressures on ourselves, can't we? I've never felt that way. I would never want anyone else to feel that way. I think it's just all about what you love, and that's great. I mentioned previously in a video that there used to be a little bit of snobbery around pre-loved, and I think that has changed as time has gone on, because I think people see the value in the sustainability aspect of it. They like being able to buy from collections they might have previously missed. The price point from a pre-loved perspective can be fantastic versus what retail was. There are so many opportunities there. So there's lots of ways to buy into luxury, but I really do think the most important factor should be how it makes you feel. The bags that I get most of a kick out of aren't always my most expensive bags. You know, for example, that my fuchsia Le Pliage is my favourite bag within my collection. But I have bags that are worth far, far more. Far, far more. You know, this Rousseau, this is stunning. This is gorgeous, and this is a £400-500 bag. It is gorgeous. And if people are saying Longchamp isn't, you know, luxury, well then what is this? Because this is fantastic. It's phenomenal. I love it. You know, and MCM is probably considered a more luxurious brand than Longchamp, but this, okay, I love them both, but this is more luxurious to me than this. This brand feels more luxurious to me. I love them both. I love both brands. I have an amazing time there, and I have great relationships with the staff at both of the brands. But, you know, it's all about feel for me, and yeah, that's what I think is really important to pull out. As I said, I don't know who creates that list. I don't know if it's just a perception thing. I would love to know what some of maybe your criteria would be for what you deem to be luxury. Because for me, the reason that I would be buying from something, let's say like Chanel, is either because the design was so different that I couldn't get it anywhere else, or because I knew I was buying it from Chanel. And I've said before about I would quite like a classic flap, I would quite like a Coco top handle, I would quite like a Chanel executive. Those are, quite truthfully, because they are Chanel items. I'll be very honest about that. Those are not so iconic to me in terms of design, so groundbreaking that I have to have them and that's the only version of that. But I would like those pieces because they are Chanel. I would. And that's okay. But I know going in that the likelihood is the quality might be marginally better, but I don't think it's going to be heads and shoulders above anything else that I own. I'm sure that the brand experience won't be over and above because I have amazing brand experiences elsewhere. The materials will be very similar to materials used by other brands, I am sure. So that I'm going in knowing that I'm paying a premium for the brand. That's okay. That is genuinely okay. Will I get those anytime soon? No, I won't. I can sit on it for as long as I need to, and potentially will never. But I would really like those items. But as I said with the Chanel executive in my previous video, I'm buying that pretty much because I could get an Aspinall of London tote, which is a very similar style of bag. I could get another Rousseau. Again, another similar style of bag when I'm poppered. But I would quite like the Chanel executive because I think it's very classic, it's very timeless, and it has the Chanel logo on it. There we are. I said it. But in terms of discussing, do I buy contemporary bags? Absolutely. Will I continue to buy contemporary bags? Absolutely. Will I also continue to keep adding a sprinkle of luxury into my collection? Absolutely. I have no interest in stopping the journey that I'm on with the items that I'm buying. But I do think in terms of what the discussion is around what's contemporary versus luxury, my accumulation of bags will always lean towards the contemporary, I think, because that is just where I'll tend to buy. That is just more my price point as well. I'm cool with it. So there we have it, everyone. That's what my thoughts are. What are your thoughts on this particular topic? I would love to know, and I look forward to seeing my next video. Take care, everyone. Bye now. Mwah.